Button. I'm back. Yes, I'd like to apologize and thank all the fans, Browns fans, B.O.C, so on and so forth. I've been on vacation for the last 2 to 3 weeks. I've been out of the country, so I really haven't done much or anything for this YouTube page, but a lot of things been bothering me the last couple days as I've been soaking up a lot of the information, a lot of talking points from talking heads, so on and so forth. So I figured I'll come on. Uh, I do some fact, but most of my content is opinion based. I don't break no news. I listen, I watch games, and then I form my opinion, and I come on here and I talk about it. So if you understand that and you enjoy it, hit the like button, tell a friend to tell another friend that Dog Talk is on Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock. Brought to you by B.O.C, Browns of Columbus. And I'm going to give you my opinion on how I break down the games and what I think. We are still, at this point, celebrating beating the 49ers. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very few, if anybody, thought that the Browns had a shot of pulling out that victory with all the injuries and what was going on with the Browns organization. Let's just call it like it is. If you listen to a lot of podcasts or people talking about the game prior to the Browns and the 49ers, no one really gave the Browns a shot. And for the most part, it's understandable because the 49ers was 5-0, clicking on all cylinders, doing their thing. But the Browns pulled it off. And to me, it speaks volumes because in prior years, me being a lifelong Browns fan, how many times have we seen teams come into our stadium and pretty much disrespect not only our team but our organization when they have that kind of accolades? So I'm not saying that the 49ers was wrong, sorta, because in the past that shit would have worked. But this week, I hope the Browns fans understand what they seen. By me saying that in the past, the pregame information that we got that the 49ers pretty much disrespected the Browns by disrupting their pregame would have been something that Browns teams in the past would have tucked their tail or would have folded their tent on those antics. This Browns team didn't. A lot of that is because, and let's just be 100 and be honest with it, is Jim Schwartz. Not only as a defensive coordinator, but someone who has ties with the Browns going back years. Him getting his start was with the Browns, so he understands and knows in depth how the Brown fans are, how they feel, and what this organization have been through. So when they came out and they were, in my opinion, disrespectful, it, like I said, it could have went one or two ways. We could have tucked our tail and allowed them to go ahead and do what they have been doing in the league, or we could have stepped it up and played a style of football that we are capable of playing that a lot of people outside of the Browns haven't seen or don't expect us to play. I started off listening to the game because I was in Wilmington, Ohio, at a pool tournament. Big ups to my team, RIP. We out of 102 teams, we came in the top 20 in the state or the Midwest, um, as far as pool teams. So I was listening to it. I didn't get a chance to check the game or watch it until the second half. I do know that the 49ers took the opening kickoff, went down the field, and scored. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to give any fluff. I can only keep it 100. When I heard that, because I was listening to the game while I was at the tournament, part of me felt like, ah, here we go again. Just going to be honest. Here we go again. They own one. They moved down the field, and it almost seemed like it was easy for them to do it. But I didn't lose faith, but I did have that moment that I felt like, oh man. So on as I was traveling back to Columbus, I didn't really get a chance to put my eyes on the team or watch the game until the second half. When I got back here and I seen what the score was, it changed and I felt different because it was like, wow. In the past, a drive like that would have broke our spirit, broke our team, and it would have just been like, okay, how much are they going to score, or possibly what are we going to lose by? I had to take into account that Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, being or having ties to the Browns, um, changed the mindset of how we played. Very huge, very huge, because he wouldn't allow his defense to come to that norm. I ain't gonna even say more normal, but that mindset. So when I got home and I really watched the game, and I seen that our defense had stepped it up after that first drive, very big, very huge for me as a lifelong Browns fan. So I watched the game accordingly. But then as the game went on, as a Brown fan, we go through these emotional roller coasters because we're not quite in that area where in our hearts of heart we feel like our team is at that point where as a team we're ready to take on the league on that level. Let's just be honest. I mean, it's always good for a fan base to say, "Well, I said they was going to win," or "I felt." You always want to pick your team, but what I have noticed with Brown fans is that when things go bad, first thing they come to is, "Well, here we go again." Big ups to G. Bush at the barbershop. He said all last week the Browns had a chance to win, and he even talked about what they could do to win. Outside of him, a lot of the talking heads already chalked it up. So, outside of myself here at the Dog Talk at B.O.C. Browns of Columbus, um, I follow G. Bush at the barbershop. I watch a lot of the Ultimate Cleveland show just to get a perspective of how other people see or think about the Browns team and how they break it down. Everyone as an individual feel a certain way about their team. Not a lot of people are open to understanding how other people that are even Browns fans break film down or even think about our squad. So I will tell you there's G. Bush, the Ultimate Cleveland show. I listen to Quincy, and I also listen to Gerard and Emmett. Just to get a variation of their thought patterns or how they see and break down the Browns team. Me, I'm opinion comment. I'm gonna bring some facts, but most of the time I'm gonna tell you what I think, what I see, uh, from my standpoint, and I hope that you enjoy it and understand. I'm not trying to change y'all's mind at all, not at all. But I had to get on tonight because it was a very big win for the Browns. Because when I listened to the national media talk about this game, it was funny to me because they really didn't give the Browns their flowers or just dues because of the game. It was Birdie didn't have some of the pieces or his star players moving forward. So it was almost like an undercut of what the Browns did, even though their defense is stout, top three in the NFL. They really can't give them their shine because they really didn't understand or haven't seen this game or the Browns stand up like they did Sunday. So they had to try to figure out how to cover it, still give the Browns their okay, they won, but it was more or less what did the 49ers do wrong as opposed to what the Browns did right, which is understandable because to a lot of folks, the Browns is not their cup of tea. Me, I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I'm gonna tell you what I seen, what I think. I looked at, and let's just say a lot of the Facebook posts that was put out there for Browns of Columbus. Big ups. They had a great time. They had a bus trip going out. I seen a post where there was like a 9-year-old young man or boy that enjoyed this so much he wanted to join B.O.C. Hey, I can't blame him, but I give him something to look forward to because we are an organization um, that is probably different than most. A family. Let's call it what it is. It's a family. So periodically we have bus trips. If you want to check out the game, we are home based at the Savoy Club out east. You in Columbus is the old Max and Ermis, 1904 Lakeside Drive off of Bryce Road. More than welcome to come through. Have a good time. You have like-minded people, Browns fans that you can celebrate the game with. We got it on multiple TVs, but we do have bus trips that go out to certain games, and we tailgate, have a great time. So, if you are a Browns fan and you're looking to be around those are like-minded, come out to the Savoy Club. And also tell your friends Wednesday night, 9 o'clock, Dog Talk with Mr. Bingo is here. Oh, we're gonna have a blast. You know what I mean? Because as I watched the game, one, they thought the game was over with. It was already um a done data from the kickoff. I was excited because when I got the news and I heard that the 49ers pulled their antics as far as trying to be disrespectful, and the fact that the Browns stood up at home let me know that this season is going to be different than any other season, even with Deshaun Watson's injury. Because we always talk about, um, let's say, the Ravens with Trent Dilfer. He wasn't a top five a quarterback, but their defense allowed them to get to the playoffs and win the Super Bowl because they had a defense. The Browns with Jim Schwartz is putting up historic numbers right now. From what I was told or what I've seen is that the Browns have allowed the fewest yards in the first 5 games in over 50 years. You had the Baltimore Colts, the Minnesota Vikings, and then the Browns at like 1,002 yards. Very big. Defense travel. So this period of time where Deshaun Watson is injured, as long as the offense is playing complementary football, I believe our defense could hold us in there until we come back. And I believe he'll be back. He had his first press conference today with the team, and he stated that his rotator cuff um, is bothering him. You really can't give a timetable on it. But one thing he did say is that if I'm going to hurt the team, I will not go out there. If I'm limited, because I know what it takes to be a professional. And I hope that the Browns fans understand that. Because me talking to him, I done heard everything from he's soft, Baker this, Baker that. Baker's time done passed. And Baker's injury was to his off throwing arm. And if you question Deshaun Watson's toughness, then you haven't been watching or following his career. You already have a predetermined or a mindset of who and what that man is based on how you feel about how he got here and who he replaced. Let's just be honest. I've been watching him since Clemson. Um, some people recall when he wasn't able to play, or he was able to play, but he wasn't able to fly to the game because of an injury he had. He ended up taking an alternative means of transportation to get there to play the game. So me personally, I won't question his toughness. Some will. When I was at the pool tournament and I was out socializing with a couple individuals, I'm not quite sure if they was Brown fans or not, but the gentleman said that Deshaun was soft. Oh, I had to tear into him because I felt like he already had his mindset on how and who Deshaun Watson was instead of putting his body of work or um, the injuries or him playing hurt at the forefront. The first thing I said was, "You must be a Baker bro," because those don't give our quarterback now a chance. Because part of them feel like I'd rather have. Okay, if you do, that's on you. But the Browns brass and the team felt different because if he was the man, please believe it, he would still be with the Browns. They didn't see that. Could have been because it was a new front office coaching staff coming in. But let's just say 4 teams in 18 months speak for itself. Chew on that for a minute. But this was a big win for the Browns. And I hope that this mindset that they played with. Because remember, the 49ers was 5-0 coming in to Cleveland. They haven't lost a regular season game going back to last year. And Birdie hasn't lost a regular season game that he finished out or a game that he finished out. But this defense, oh man, creating chaos with the front four and linebackers and playing man to man on the back end. Denzel playing out his mind right now. Playing out, he's showing you why he is getting paid what he's getting paid. If we want to talk about the money, which it seems like it only goes that way when you feel a certain way about a player. Because as many people talk about Deshaun Watson and his contract, I have to remind them that at this point in the season that he is the eighth or the ninth highest paid quarterback in the league. But we don't hear the same energy when it comes to other quarterbacks to sign contracts after he did. Let's just keep it 100. Um, our offense, as long as our defense is playing the way they are playing, if we play complementary football, uh, field field position, not turn it off, and we really can't say that because historically, if you lose the turnover battle, your your team is behind the eight ball or losing a lot more games. The Browns this year has game for game lost the turnover battle, and we're 3-2, and in the mix of the AFC hunt. AFC North is loaded, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm excited about how they played against San Fran because they beat them at their game. San Fran is usually the team that come in and is the most physical team on the field. This game, the Browns played a more physical game than the 49ers. So, with that being said, there's a chance that this could be that turning point that allows the Browns to have that confidence that they can play with anybody in this league, especially in the AFC North. Still going to get tested, don't get me wrong, because you still have to go up against the likes of Kansas City, Buffalo. We pretty much have the number of Cincinnati. But if they play and they have the mentality that they did last week, we can play with any team pretty much because coming up into this week, San Fran was that team that everybody was talking about as being like the top 4 or 5 teams in the NFL. And a lot of times when you stand toe to toe, and this is what I got from Gerard Cherry, he was like, when he played for New England, one of the things that turned their season around when they was young and developing is when they went toe to toe with one of the better teams in the NFL and they didn't win the game, but they was right there. So in the locker room, they was like, you know what? We can play with them. So I'm thinking, and I believe that the Browns, after winning this game, with you have one Nick Chubb out for the season. You had Teller or the right left guard. He was out. He was replaced by Dunn. So as many injuries as the 49ers had, the Browns had injuries as well, and still was able to pull this game out. So when they get back to the locker room or they enter this week's practice, they will understand or have that confidence that they can play with anybody. It's on the coaches to make sure they hold the players to those standards. If they do that, the Browns right now are entering a part of their schedule that is favorable. This season was front loaded, especially with the division opponents. So we get a chance to, I'm not going to say take it easy, because any given Sunday, you can lose or any team can take advantage of the matchup. We should get Deshaun Watson back, if not this week, next week, um, barring any setbacks to his rehab and how he feel as far as throwing the ball, and getting it to his playmakers. We don't know. Word came out before Baltimore game, that he was cleared to play from the team doctors. But as a quarterback, if your throwing motion or your rotator cuff is compromised or injured, you can't really go into a game and feel comfortable doing everything that you want to do and should do to help your team move forward. So let's just hope that in this next week or two that he had enough time to rest it, rehab it, and get back on the field to help this team. As long as this defense is playing the way they are, and our offense don't just wet the bed, we should be good until he come back. And once he come back, it shouldn't change or mess up, because now we're plugging in a quarterback who has the upside or the skill to get us in the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. My only concern is, and I was talking to my son earlier about this because he's a diehard Browns fan, is that Jed Wills playing average, you cannot replace a Joe Thomas. But I tell him my concern is, because I played football, is that Jed Wills is a friend or a good friend of Baker. A lot of people are like, it shouldn't make a difference. It makes a big difference. If you're the left tackle and you're playing your position just as a job or something that you have to do to make money, and not wholeheartedly feel like you have to protect your quarterback, I personally feel like some of the mishaps that he have is due to him not going above and beyond, because they don't have that connection, and he is pretty much boys with Baker and he feel a certain way. We can't determine it, we can't measure it, but from my eyes and being a football player myself, I feel like he don't go above and beyond to protect his quarterback. He played as a job, or he played that position as a job. And if he get beat, oh well, I tried. But if the offensive line plays top five like they have been touted going into the season, Deshaun coming back, one, we give him the confidence that he can survey the field like he normally does, and two, he don't have to rush his throw knowing that his backside is being exposed. As critical as I am of Jed Wills, I'm gonna be the first, not even the first, but I'm gonna tell you, when I watched Sunday's game, he played. Outside of being down the field on the screenplay, you really didn't hear his name called or spoke upon by the talking heads. But my concern is Deshaun wasn't back there, so he played a little bit different. I have to see how that plays out moving forward. But if he played like he played last week and Deshaun comes back, oh, we're going to be good. We will definitely be good. But if he don't, and Deshaun have to look over his shoulder because DeJuan Jones, oh, all right, tackle playing a rookie. I ain't gonna say playing out of his mind, but how many times have you heard or seen a game where B.O.C really didn't change the landscape of how things was going? See, it's the small things in the game that fans sometimes don't understand or don't pay attention to. We got us a right tackle of the future. And I'm not going to throw Jet Wills out with the bathwater or say that he is not capable of doing it, but there is a detach between what he's doing and how he feel about the quarterback. And that's just being honest. If he step up and play like he played last week, we should be all right, especially moving into the middle, the second quarter of the season. The talent or the teams we're playing is not as stout as the first 4 or 5 games. Should be able to go on a winning streak, but that's on the players. That is totally on the players. But if they have that mindset that they played this Sunday, they won't be bullied. Oh, it's going to be a fun season for the Browns fans. And I'm looking forward to it. D Hop, special teams player um, of the week, kicking field goals. Um, oh, G. Bush said, or I don't know if it was G. Bush or was somebody else that said that if we had our kicker from last year, we'd probably be 1-4 right now. Think about it. He done came in and he's holding it down, and it changed the mindset of the players because now if you get to a certain range, you allow yourself to put up 3 points as opposed to having to go for the fourth and have to score to win, because now you have a defense that is not going to allow teams to just march down the field. More likely going to be three and out, have to punt so we can play the field position game. So we actually don't need, or like in the past, we needed a quarterback that might have to change things in their favor. But with the defense and the acquisition of Jim Schwartz, Tomlinson, uh, Lazarius Smith, and just the mindset. Because there was a couple times I watched the game and Smith and Garrett wasn't even in the game. You had Isaiah Thomas, uh, second string, and they were still creating the same pressure. And when things like that happen, that means that your defensive coordinator has imposed a mindset and an attitude on your defense that resonates to everybody. If you ain't gonna play like this, you won't see the field. So we have to understand some things is changing, and we defense last year was more passive. This is a more aggressive defense. They're having fun, rushing, and just playing football, and a lot. And that has to do with the defensive coordinator. And in my opinion, if our offense get that same mindset where they're having fun, going out there just playing and not really thinking, or don't have to think that much, oh, it's going to be a scary season for the rest of the league, because that would allow our offense to put up points and now put our defense in situations where they're on the field most of the time. And if we put up 21 to 28 points and they're only giving up 10, you do the math. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So make sure you tell someone, let your friends know. Wednesday nights, B.O.C. Mr. Bingo Dog Talk is here on YouTube. And I'm going to give you my opinion of what I've seen, what I think. Um, we talked about last week. This week, we're going up against the Colts with Minshew. They have the same attitude moving forward. I don't see where the Colts, and I'm not saying it's a guaranteed win, but if they stay true to what our defense have been doing, even if Deshaun Watson don't come back and we play complimentary football, we should be able to ink out a win until Deshaun come back. And once he do, because I can pretty much guarantee you chopping at the bits, knowing how this defense is playing, that he don't feel like, or he shouldn't feel like, everything is on his shoulders, that he has to have a winning drive every time he's up under the center. But it gives me comfort in knowing that we have a quarterback that if we do need to pull it out in the fourth quarter, we have the capability and the signal caller back there that can do it. My only concern is our head coach. He's not without being criticized because for the last 3 years I have been saying he's a coach that is plays over players. And sometimes when you have the luxury of what he has now of having a defense that will get you the ball back, not so much with turnovers because we're like 31, between 31 and 29 in turnovers. But we are high in the league in 3-and-outs. So that means that gives our offense more opportunities to be on the field um, and work things out. But our head coach is plays over players, and sometimes you have to let your players eat. And don't think you're the smartest one in the room and let the game come to you. I and I'm not going to say he is over his head, but sometimes I believe he thinks he's the smartest one in the room, and it comes back to biting, or it gets to the point where the rest of the offense really don't buy in because they feel and see the game a certain way. And our head coach, which is the offensive coordinator, sees it from his perspective, and there's a disconnect, and it hurts. And it hurts the team. And I hope it doesn't create a division or a riffle in the team. I still think we could work it out. I still think things can move forward. Indianapolis is not a powerhouse. They play with a backup quarterback. I'm not for sure if their star running back is going to be back. But even if he is, the way this defense is playing is going to give our offense opportunities to move the ball down the field. And we have to understand as Browns fans, even if we win ugly, as long as we win, that's all that matters. So make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend that Mr. Bingo is here every Wednesday at 9 o'clock talking Browns football. And I will talk to you next Wednesday. And I'm going to go ahead and call it after Indianapolis Colts defeat. We're going to take them down, whether with Deshaun or back up, as long as we play complimentary football. Our defense is going to keep us in there. Even if we win ugly, as long as we win, it's still a dub in the column. All right. So this is your man, Mr. Bingo. I will see y'all next week. Yes, I'm back.